Good morning, everyone. This is the Tour of Love show, and we've got some fun going on here. My name is Tamara Hunter, and I am one of the co-hosts. I am joined by Caroline Berzins, Skip, also known as Poe, or Poe, also known as Skip. We'll check out that in a moment. And our guest, Kim O'Neill of Let Your Light Shine movement, the movement. And so I am going to let everyone go around the horn, if you will, tell a little bit about yourself, and we're going to get right into it. Caroline?
My name is Caroline Berzins, and I come live to you from Toronto, Canada. I'm a senior ambassador and also assistant producer.
And Skip, also known as Poe.
Yep, Skip or Poe. It's kind of like Clark Kent and Superman, but not quite Superman. Just been a part of this tour of love and projects and the 36-hour event and the Chemo Buddies for life. And just it's great to be here.
And we are introducing today Kim O'Neill, who is a real big part of the Tour of Love. She was very much involved in the big event we had at the end of 2020, and she's also a volunteer within the cb4l.org organization and community. Yet you are doing some really cool new stuff, and so we are going to be talking about that today. Why don't you introduce a little bit about that right now, Kim O'Neill?
Thank you so much, Tamara. Yes. So just this past week, we launched the Let Your Light Shine movement, and I'm so excited about this. The movement is to inspire and empower people all around the globe to be more of who they authentically are. Because when one person allows themselves to be who they are, they shine. And when one person shines, our world shines brighter. And in doing that, that inspires and encourages others to be more of who they are, and helping to remind them that they have permission to be who they are. So that's what the movement's about, and I'm excited to be here and talk a little bit about that again today.
We are very excited too. So let your light shine, the movement. Why don't we start right now? Let's get right into it. And we have a video that you created in regards to let your light shine. And so then we can really, let's say, go into it in the Tour of Love fashion about how we can raise the frequency of this world through love and through letting your light shine.
Hello and welcome to the Let Your Light Shine movement. My name is Kim O'Neill, and I am so glad that you're here. At the end of December 2020, I asked, what's next? I host the Every Day is a New Day podcast and live show, and I started coaching in 2013, helping people prepare for job interviews that then transformed into more personal confidence, self-acceptance, standing in your power. And over that time, what I've seen over and over again, especially with my interview coaching clients, is this reluctance to embrace who they are, embrace what they're awesome at, to really own it and share that with others so that they can be seen. And it's now time. It's now time for us to all stand up, take that stand for yourself, and to say, this is who I am, and I choose to shine. I allow myself to shine. The Let Your Light Shine movement is about choosing to be more of who you authentically are, allowing that to be seen and felt by the world around you. The heart of this movement is to inspire and encourage people all over the globe to take a stand for themselves. Does that look the same for everybody? No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to. It's not supposed to. Shining your light can look like a chef in a restaurant who diligently and artfully creates a delicious meal for patrons to eat. Shining your light can look like the introvert who's very quiet and maybe even goes unnoticeable in public, and yet is such a wonderful, present listener in private. Shining your light looks like the teacher who cares about his students' well-being. Shining your light looks like the student who takes time to help their friends with their homework. Shining your light may look like giving a warm, friendly smile to the stranger on the street. Of course, there's also the artist who creates, the performer who performs, and the comedian who brings laughter to audiences. Bottom line, it looks like you owning and embracing who you authentically are. Loving that with all of your heart and sharing it with others so that they can benefit from your light, but also start to see the beauty and the light within them as well. The goal of this movement is to reach people far and wide. We want people in every continent, every country, every community to feel more and more empowered in being aligned with their truest, most authentic self. No longer hiding it and trying to maybe deny it or refuse it, but allowing it, embracing it, being it. I invite you to join this movement for yourself and everyone you know. Please do fill out the form, take a selfie and tag us in a post, share this with your friends and challenge them to join the movement too. You and your bright light are a gift to the world that only you can share. I look forward to having you join us.
Bravo.
Bravo to the way you added on to that video too, Tamara. That was awesome.
Hey, we gotta do this together. And that's what I love about all of this. And let's recognize everyone that is here right now. We want to say thank you, Caroline Berzins, for saying hello and welcoming everyone. Hello, Shannon Green. We're so happy you are here. And also, we are live on the E360 TV platform. And how is it that you find the E360 TV platform? Well, yes, we're going to share that too. So that means go to the App Store, find it there, watch us live on the Positive Vibration channel, and you can take us anywhere you want to go. Love it. And we want to say hello to Mikey Adam Cohen. He's saying fun. And let's see, we've got June Foster here. Good morning to you and everyone. And also Scott Covington. So, Poe and Caroline, I'd love to hear, and I'm going to let you two kind of lead some discussion here with Kim O'Neill in regards to how is it that we can be raising the vibration, if you will, of the world through love like we know, and in letting your light shine, your authentic light shine from within. And then, of course, how Kim came up with the movement. Love to kind of hear that too. But I'm going to let you two kind of take it. So I'm going to move Poe up into this spot where I am right now and switch chairs. There you go.
Hi, go ahead, Caroline. You start.
Oh, I was hoping you'd go first.
I will. No, you go ahead.
Oh.
Go for it. Showtime. Go for it. Up in Canada, California.
My light is
in
shining.
Arkansas.
Can you see the sunshine coming through the window?
We can, yes. Your light is shining for sure.
You know, letting my light shine is really finding myself, working within myself, and knowing what my creativity is within myself. And this the end of 2020, or the middle of 2020, I would say, to now, I've done a lot of soul searching within myself. I was able to create a poem book that's personally for myself and my kids. And I never thought that I would ever create a book. It was really not even in my agenda to create one. But I must say thanks to Kim for offering a session with her that had me open up a lot of things inside me that was hiding, that wasn't showing up, and believing in myself that things could happen. And after that session with Kim, I created the book. I wrote every day. And the book is basically my story of my life, but put into a poem way for my kids to understand the struggles and the things that I had to go through in life to get where I am today. And then after that, and it's already over at the editor getting edit and ready to get printed, I also started to create a children's book. And I'm really happy and joyful about that because it's fun. It's like getting my inner child out and being able to create something fun for kids. And I'm still in the works with that.
Wow. That's really beautiful.
Yes. Congratulations, Carol. That's awesome. Very inspiring, all of it.
Very beautiful. And of course, as you're saying poetry, and I saw someone popped up today was World Poetry Day. Dr. Ward, Randy Ward. And earlier, and if you see behind Caroline, all the artwork, the art part of the creative part. And was so cool, and it keeps popping back to let your light shine, and to what Kim was talking about, which was so beautiful about us becoming our authentic self. And no two are alike. We're all different, magical in every way, gifted, talented, knowledgeable, got our challenges, all of us. I certainly got a bunch, but in spite of it all, it's like how to be your authentic self. And you heard, and you can see it in Caroline, just that passion, that joy of when she connects, even though she's not writing poetry right now or painting, but she's connecting to the doing of that, the vibration of that love vibration, that joy, gratitude, whatever comes across in poetry. We use the scale all the time, and it goes into every cell of your body. And you could really see it, Caroline. I mean, she's been a very serious person. About a year and a half ago, she wouldn't dare come on camera, and she was hosting stuff. Now she's hosting her own events and things, writing books, doing artwork, and happy to go on with anybody at a drop of a dime. But so coming back to that authentic self, and I'd like to ask Kim, but it was what also happened yesterday. I was, my brother is a rock star impressionist artist doing really great. And as a kid, he was a big football player, played for Lou Holtz, the Razorbacks and all, and real athletic. But he always, as a little kid, got into art. And when all the drama was going on, Barry, his name, he'd go off in the woods and he'd draw and paint. And he went to the Art Center Design. He's a very, well-known artist and has an incredible business. And yesterday I was hanging out with him, and a couple friends came in to see his gallery. And I reminded, because our father, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. Our father, who was military captain, self-made man, became a doctor, a surgeon, and a leader in so many areas. And he pushed us all kids. And I remembered, I told my brother Barry, because he was always, like, what are you going to be? And what's your plan? And 1 year, all this, and, in school, are you taking the right classes? And so he would talk to all of us. And I remember one day I told my brother Barry, the artist, this yesterday, and I said, I'll never forget when Barry was in college, and he was playing for Lou Holtz, the Razorbacks, and he was into art, and he was about to get out of college. And my dad goes, all 6 of you kids, I'm not worried about. You're all talented, smart. You'll do your thing. but Barry, what the hell is he going to do? He can't play football all his life, and he wants to be an artist. And like, what's he going to do? And he goes, I'm so worried. And now he makes more and is, well known in circles around the world. I mean, than all of us put together, including the doctor. And so it goes back to shining your light. And even, I'm doing some video and stuff, and listening to his philosophy. It's not about painting the numbers. Oh, that's a tree, and I want to do this, and here's the brush, and here's how you do it. And he related, and I said, it's almost like there's a light, there's a spark of light inside of you that you sense from nature or the beauty of something you're going to paint, and that transfers to the canvas. Because, without light, it'd just be dark. We wouldn't see anything. And so expressing that light, be it in music or film or poetry or art, is really a beautiful thing. And we were talking about how we lose time and space when we're in that zone of writing music or being, just connected to nature creatively or writing poetry. So back to you, Kim, on, encouraging, because you had a big part in encouraging Caroline into really tapping in and going with that authentic self, which really is letting your light shine, right?
Yes. And Poe, you just said so many things that were awesome that we could touch on. I really want to touch on the aspect you started to say at the end about your brother really tuning into that spark within him and allowing himself to believe in that and then do something with it. And so I'm so honored that I've been able to support Carol in her journey. And yet here's the thing. I didn't necessarily, I did what I do, but Carol did the work. And it all stemmed from her choosing to say, I feel this. I feel this spark. I know there's something here. And she said yes to a session with me. And so because she said yes, well, then I got to do what I do. And we got to work together. And then she continued to say yes and do something more. And look what she's created since then. So I got to be a part of that journey. And I'm so grateful. I'm like so excited for Carol. But the key is to remember, it's like Carol did it. Carol did it. And each of us has that in us in our own unique way. And there's so many ways to think of shining your light. I think for some people, it may look like, what do you do externally for others? That is one way to be shining your light. And I think it's key to remember that, to pay attention to what's stirring within you, because I think that's where the most light and power we have comes from. And so listening to those things that spark excitement or, playfulness, tapping into our inner child, whatever it may be, the book, Carol, I'm going to say the books that you're creating are for the children that you're writing them for, but they're also for Carol's inner child, which on some level is going to speak to all of our inner child, children, however we want to phrase it. So I just think that's so key, is to make sure that in the honoring of yourself, that's how you are able to give and help light up others and the world around you. And it's a wonderful ripple effect that takes place.
Well, and Kim, and you said something that happened within her, and she said yes. And she acted upon that yes, which is the next step of how you act upon it. Because just like I told you the story of my brother Barry and dad going, what's he going to do? He wants to be an artist. He needs to learn he can't play football. What's he going to do? And growing up, his father, and you go to school and they say, well, you need to learn this to become that, or and so you're constantly being told by so many outside forces, including family, friends, job, here's what you can do and here's what you can't do. And inside, and Carolina, I guess I'd ask this, is going back, is there a fear of public speaking or singing in public or creating art or even becoming something that is burning inside of you, that light?
I'm gonna interrupt you both here for just a moment and give a bit of a housekeeping question and answer, and that is Shannon Green and all of you. if we can't see the comments, it might be that they're coming from one of the areas that is going through the E360 TV platform. So if you want us to see your comments, go over to the Chemo Buddies for Life community page or to the CB4L community on YouTube. Onto that channel. Write your comments in there while we are live. We will be able to see them and we will show them. And I hope that helps. Okay, sorry. Continue now.
No, that's great. That's good to know. So so because I actually did that before. I was trying to comment when I was watching one of the other shows, and that's good to know. So thank you for doing that. But tapping in and overcoming all the things in society or our family or our parenting or our education that dictates that, oh, well, you should do this to fit into. Kim, and I remember my own thing with, because Dad wouldn't pay for my college unless I was pre-med and went through med school. I mean, and all, and study science and physics and chemistry. And later I broke free, and I'll tell you a little bit about that, but it's trusting that inner light. Right?
Yes. I think intuition plays a huge role in this, is listening to your intuition of what those nudges are that are telling you there's something here, right? Or you feel more lit up and excited by this thing over here. Pay attention to that. And the more that we don't pay attention to it, we feel more closed off. We feel restricted. We start to feel what having our light dimmed feels like. Right. And we start to kind of close down, and life isn't as exciting or as fun and that kind of thing. And at some point that can become the norm. And we may not even realize, oh, I haven't been honoring myself. I haven't been paying attention to what lights me up. And sometimes it takes getting to a place where we've closed ourselves off so much that we're in so much pain, so to speak, to some degree, that all of a sudden we have no choice but to do the thing that has been calling to us, speaking to us. And so, everyone has a different experience. And I definitely want to say, the message here isn't don't do those things that may be practical and certainly serve a purpose in your life, but make sure that you are also taking time to honor yourself and what speaks to you, because what speaks to you may not speak to everyone else, and it's not going to, it's not supposed to. So your job is to listen to you and figure out what can you do about that to be shining your light.
Beautiful. Yeah, because I mean, even back to when I was in college and my father was paying only if I took certain pre-med things so I could follow in footsteps of him. And my last semester of college, I was looking at all my class cards, comparative vertebrate morphology, like what, and I was checking out to, pay. And I had an anxiety attack, which I'd never had before, sweating. And it was like, I couldn't, and I handed it to the cashier with his little pre-signed check for college, and I didn't let go. She kept pulling, like, what's going on? I said, I forgot something. And I pulled back and I looked at it and I was going, and I didn't say this to myself, but it was kind of like, who the hell's life is this? Right. And I tore up all the little cards in his check and I threw them in the air and I ran outside, and I actually didn't talk to my father for 2 years shortly after that, because he had 6 kids, and he goes, okay, next you'll be a doctor, and none of them actually became a doctor. But I got into theater, and I started doing plays, Pippin and Cabaret and Death of a Salesman on stage, which wasn't my intention, with radio, TV, and film as a major. And all of a sudden one night I had the lead in a Rudyard Kipling play, and there was about 700-800 people in the audience. Great shows, and I was having a blast. But I hadn't talked to my dad in 2 years. And all of a sudden, and not even halfway, about 10 minutes into the play, I was on stage and I did something, and right about row 8 in the middle was my dad. And he said, don't ever cry in public. Here's how you got to behave. And I was like, oh crap, what is he doing here? And the play went on. We had standing ovations. The curtain closed. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe my dad was here. And he came, and all the curtain he opened, somebody walked through the center of the curtain up on the stage, and looking, it was my dad. He was looking for me. And the person who had never cried before, who had never, said, here's what you got to do and don't do that. And why are you taking this and that classes? He came walking through that curtain sobbing.
Oh.
And he said, please forgive me. He goes, I had no idea you could do that. So from that point, that was about me shining my light and somebody who didn't really want to recognize it. So everything in life since then, even though I've done some really stupid things, he supported on many levels. He really supported me because he trusted me shining my light, which was really a wonderful thing. And I think he's done that for a lot of the other kids as well. Being the oldest, you're kind of a guinea pig. But having the courage, because everything was pushing me back into fear or guilt. I shouldn't be taking these classes. I shouldn't go on stage. I'm wasting my life. As to the practice, Kim, and Caroline, with what you did to start that movement up that scale from I'm afraid to public speak. I'm afraid to get on stage. I've got apathy or I have guilt if I do it. And so I was feeling all those things. But suddenly I got up to a courage level, which you're starting to get into positive. Everything above that 200, below that 200 is very disempowering, and above it is empowering. So moving up that ladder of frequency to, acceptance and, joy and love, which is up at 500, this is the tour of love. Having the tools, first saying yes, which is the courage part, I guess. And then the second part, Kim and Caroline, with what you did, how do you act upon that? To start embodying that and seeing things shift.
That's a great question and great story, Poe. I think so many people can relate to that story, that sometimes it requires you are the sole person to believe in yourself first and take that action. And there may be a gap of time between you believing in you and other people believing in you. But the more you say yes, you do it that one time, and then you do it again, And when you say, how do you do it? What do you do? I say you start with the first thing. First thing that comes to mind that you know to do. So, that for me years ago, that looked like, I know that I want to work with people one-on-one in a more direct capacity and help people. And so I couldn't figure out, I had all these different ways of how I could do it, but nothing quite was fitting. And so I said, okay, I'm going to start as a youth mentor. That was my easy start. I did that for many years. And then that eventually led to coaching. And then that eventually led to podcast hosting. And if just one thing after another. And so you don't always see everything else that's going to come. It's just that first thing, choosing to do that, and then keep doing that, or keep listening. Oh, what's the new thing now? And do that and do that, and it builds and it grows. And as your confidence and belief in yourself grows, you start to shine even brighter because you've got that momentum going. And then next thing you know, the bridge is gapped between others who may not have believed in you, knock on wood, they may never believe in you, but where there can be a bridge that will be gapped, that will start to show up, like in your story. So great story.
Well, great. Caroline, go ahead.
If you don't mind, what I'd like to do right now is also point out that I really love the logo that you chose, Kim, because in the logo here, and then you can see it further in the banner here. Why don't you explain that? Because it goes along with what you and Poe and Caroline are talking about right now.
Absolutely. I love the simplicity of the logo. It's simply a fingerprint that is radiating its energy. And in the larger banner that you were showing a moment ago, we had all the different colored fingerprints, because we know that there are no two fingerprints alike, regardless if we look similar. I could look at my fingerprint and look at Carol's and think they look exactly the same, but they're not. They're unique. And that's how each person is in the world, is there's no other you. And that's what this logo represents, is no matter how similar you might be to someone else, you are still uniquely you. There will never, ever be another you. And that's the simplicity in it, is just recognizing the value of that and allowing yourself to be that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, back to Caroline, what was, you said yes, but what was it? You can just say yes. I've said a yes to a lot of things and never followed through with it. It's like, yeah, I think I'll do. Yeah, I would have. No. It's like, and then I'm back down into guilt and shame. Like, okay. It's like, dang it. What was it, Caroline, that took you and said, okay, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to move my feet? What did that look like?
Well, for me, I mean, I was at the side of my dad's bed before he passed away, and he said, the words he said to me, and I'll still mark these words, is, "You are smart. I know you had it in you." And my dad's never said things like that about me. And from there, I started to look at different things inside myself, because I've always helped other people and never really helped myself. Always giving to everybody else. I finally had to learn to receive for myself. And that was the hardest part for me, is learning to receive for myself. What can I do for me instead of just doing for everybody else? And getting over the fear of coming on this side of the camera was the hardest thing, because I had a hard time looking at myself. And I had to build courage in myself. I had to build confidence in myself. And it was okay if I made a mistake, because I can learn from that mistake. And to really, like, I had to love myself, and I really didn't love myself. I had to really find that in myself. So I spent last year, pretty well 2020, doing that for myself and taking that time just to find myself and who I was and who I'm being, and finding my worth and on who I am.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And that goes back to you being you. And so often, Kim, I mean, and Tamara, if you jump in, but we get so wrapped up in what other people will think of us, family, friends, peers, co-workers, and sometimes we don't shine our light, or we don't even connect to what is that I want, even in a relationship. It's important to negotiate and compromise, but oftentimes people will just totally discount who they are in a situation in order to try to please other people. I didn't say this to my father way back then, but it was kind of the theme that it's like, hey, Dad, newsflash. I was not put on this earth so that my behavior was all orchestrated to please you. It was like, I hope that's not a surprise, but isn't that, so often getting over the fear of what we think other people might think of us, or if we did this.
Absolutely. I think that, was someone else going to say something there?
I will after you. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say, I think that is a huge part of it. Yes. And so it takes a rewiring of the brain. From my own experience, because this has been part of my journey too, it's like, okay, ongoing process of tweaking and noticing, wait a second, am I allowing someone else to impact me more than what I believe and think for myself? Okay, let's recalibrate there, because ultimately, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It matters what you think about yourself. And so whose thoughts are ruling your mind? And I think I had something else to say there, and maybe it'll come back. So Tamara.
And what I'd like to do is maybe look at it in the whole idea of where we are now in the present. Because a lot of what we have thought in the past was not necessarily that we weren't thinking about ourselves, that we weren't being about ourselves. It was a whole different generation. It was a whole different time. You had the Great Depression, you had the World Wars, you had, coming together. And that wasn't against ourselves. That was about the collective. And so then when we have this consciousness and this learning and an awareness now and an awakening that's taking place, you can't fault people that were in their best self giving to the collective, because that's what they knew. Now we have more of an awareness, like with your Light Shine movement, where we're waking up. We're waking up to a new frequency. We're waking up to the idea. We didn't have this skill back in my grandparents' day. They didn't understand this. Yet, I bet you anything, if you were to talk to any of them, they would say, oh, no, I am. I do believe in myself. And in believing myself, I am giving to the collective because that's the way we do it. Now we look at it because we know. They didn't know that they didn't know. Now we know that they didn't know. So now we're getting to that place where we know that we know. And that's what's exciting about the Tour of Love show. That's exciting about Let Your Light Shine movement, and all of the the different groups that we are aligning ourselves with here at the Tour of Love, because we know that we know, and we are letting our lights shine. So I really am thinking that, in all fairness, it's where do we feel the very best within our own souls and our own hearts, and what does that look like? And when we can be generous with ourselves and have grace with ourselves and say, okay, now I understand a little bit more. I'm not going to go back there and say that whatever. It's like today is the present. It's a gift. And we today are talking about this. So let's let our light shine together, guys, and be the collective. And in doing so, we are raising the frequency of the world through the Tour of Love. I'm totally loving this. So that's what I wanted to share.
Oh Tamara, I so love that you brought in that perspective, because I completely agree. We have a whole reframing of worldviews and perspectives, and how we cooperate, how we co-create together. And I think that's a great way to reflect in that way, that wait a second, even just the whole mindset as a collective is shifting. And when you bring that up, that even brings up just so much releasing, that there has to be any burden or blame on what may have been holding anybody back, or where there may have been some people pleasing, and just knowing that there's permission to say, what do I choose now in this moment, and still seeing how it serves the collective. I love that you brought that in. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so much of what I was hearing were things that were external, be it opinions, be it conditions, events, situations, health related, like in my own. I'm a cancer survivor, but so much of it is how we react to it. Or I heard you say consciousness, which is about us. Where are we? Where do we pick our vibe on that scale, and how do we respond to that? And not so much be sacrifice, abandon ourselves for the other things to affect us. It comes, reminds me, and I pulled it up, remember the short poem by Mother Teresa, the Anyway poem, which relates right now to now. It was on her wall there in Calcutta, and it was, I'll read it, it was a great message, and I actually printed it off and used to keep it on my wall. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're successful, you will win some false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you're honest and frank, people might cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough, but give the world the best you have anyway. And you see, in the final analysis, it's between you and God, your God. It was never between you and them anyway. Such a beautiful thing, which relates it back to trusting in your authentic light, right?
Yes. And letting other people off the hook. Like, they get to do whatever they do, right? And they have their own reasons for doing that. And so again, it's not about them. It's about you honoring you. And I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that again. Who wrote that?
I don't remember who wrote it, but Mother Teresa, they found after she died, they found it on inscribed on her wall in Calcutta.
Okay.
And a beautiful person, I forgot her name. She's a famous singer, but she did a song called "Anyway."
Okay.
And yeah, it's amazing. But it's a message that I kept reminding myself is to, if I do this, I'm going to get this kind of look or criticism or whatever. But if it's you and your authentic self, do it, be it anyway.
Yes. It kind of all goes back to not everyone's gonna like everyone. Right? What were you gonna say, Tamara?
Well, I was just going to actually play a video right now in regards to what it is Tour of Love supports the cb4l.org. And all about that is that it goes hand in glove with what we're talking about right now, is that those people that are feeling isolated and alone, we can love them anyway. We can be there with them. We can share the humor, hope, heart hugs, and a whole lot of love. And we can do that collectively together. And so I wanted to share the video and let people know that we are supporting the nonprofit cb4l.org for those that are affected by cancer and those that support and love them.
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been showing that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Chemo Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a Chemo Buddy for life.
We are a Buddies Network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are Chemo Buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for life.
Healing through connections.
And here's Shannon Green saying connection. Absolutely. It is all about that connection. And I felt inspired to share this right now with everyone because of the fact that we are here for those that need us anyway. We are here to help you through what can be one of those times in your life that you want it to be the chapter and then go on to that next chapter. And we will be here with you always and through it. And thank you for letting me share that.
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
Well, and the song's called "Anyway," and I encourage people to go look at it on YouTube. Martina McBride did the video, with the song she wrote it and sings a beautiful song, and there's a video that'll just, bring tears to your eyes. It's so beautiful, but it's inspiring. And so much of what we're talking about, and that word that popped up, connection, is so critical. And oftentimes through addictions or various things, people have lost that connection. And when Kim or you guys were talking about authentic self, have we lost connection to that authentic self?
You know, what I want to add to this is, because we've been speaking a lot to the space of feeling fearful and feeling in that pain space of, what if I do? What if I do say yes and shine my light, do my authentic thing? What are other people going to think, right? We've been talking about that because that is an aspect of this journey. But I want to bring it back to what Tamara was saying about being in the present, because ultimately this is a recalibrating of that focus, recognizing that our focus is on other people or the past or the hurt, all of that, and going, wait a second, no, this is about me in this moment. And so I love that you bring up, Poe, about focus, or no, you brought up about connection, and Shannon was talking about connection. And I think it's actually more of a myth that we've lost connection, because the connection's always there. It's just the focus has not been on it. And so we feel like we are disconnected. We feel disjointed. We feel like we've lost that. But as soon as we choose to say yes and tune into it and really listen, honor it, and do something with it, you're going to feel it again. You're going to start to see that grow and recognize the truth and power in that, and stop denying it and doubting it and all of that. So I think that's really, when you talk about earlier, how do we do that? What's the first step? I mean, even that can be a first step, is wait a second, where is my focus? Let's shift that focus back here. I've got that connection. Let me tune into it, because it never really goes away. It's always there.
So those old stories and labels or excuses, like I can't, so you're suggesting, Kim, to stay present, you keep saying, well, I am the way I am because my mother dropped me as a baby from the crib on my head.
We all have stories like that. And, and there's learning to come out of it. I mean, definitely can all serve a purpose. And what are we going to do with it to move forward?
Well, the comment I put, the thing I put in the comments there, the storm can come and blow it all away, build it anyway. That is from that song of Martina McBride. That is part of one of the lyrics. Because as soon as he said the song, I went and I looked it up, and that's exactly what it is. And it is actually, I'm reading the lyrics, it is a really good song to go and listen to.
And a great reminder to stay present, because things could happen today, or I could, get into all these other false opinions or labels, or why nots, or why should I do it this way instead of that way. And as a reminder to be your authentic self and to let your light shine, which you say is a movement. If anything now to move us into this tour of love movement, and is really about letting your light shine. So how can we make this movement? What does it look like to you, Kim? I mean, you started it, and Tamara, you're doing it on E360 TV with the Tour of Love, and Caroline with the closed groups and the people you're hosting. This is a movement. And what does that look like now?
It looks like allowing yourself to be who you are, shine your light, recognize what's awesome and great about you. I want to acknowledge something that a lot of the people who have already joined the movement everyone's awesome. And I love that they're joining. And I had someone yesterday say, oh, well, when I get my website up, when I get my, they had something else they were working on for their business. And they said, when I get those, then I'll join. And that's fine. Everyone gets to join when they want. And I want to make sure that people know it's not about the website. It's not about having this exterior thing ready. It's about when you know right now who you are, how you shine, you're already enough. Like, you can literally join right now and say, I shine because, oh my goodness, this feels so awesome. And I'm happy to be here, and that's why I'm choosing to join the movement. And that's how I'm going to, that's the value that I see in this, because I know that when I even just honor that about myself, that inspires other people too. I want people to know you don't have to be an entrepreneur or someone who has some sort of exterior something to show to be able to join the movement. You already shine, and it's about you recognizing that within yourself. And so joining looks like, filling out the short form we have on the movement page, looks like sharing it with your friends, looks like, when you recognize what's good about you, how about pay it forward? Tell some of your friends, what you think is awesome about them. And here's a quote that I absolutely love, and it's by Edith Wharton. The quote is, there are two ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. And I think this movement is very much that mirror, as well as empowering people to be the candle that they are as well. So,
and one thing about this too, for people to understand, this is a free situation. This is a movement. It is not join this and then get it and then be worried that, okay, where's the pitch coming? When are they going to ask me to open up my wallet? That's not what this is all about. This is truly a movement to make a difference in the world, right?
Absolutely. 1,000,000%. This is literally simply an opportunity to take a stand for who you are, because literally in doing that, I know I'm so passionate about this. Literally in just doing that, you make a difference. You make a positive difference. Every step of the way that you choose to claim and honor yourself, you make a positive difference. And through this movement, we're going to be able to collectively go, oh my goodness, look how many people have chosen to take a stand. It's simply a way to kind of bring everyone together and take a snapshot on it and go, wow, look how many people believe in themselves. I choose to believe in me too. Look at how many unique people are believing in themselves. They don't all look one way. They don't all have the same story, the same background, the same way that they even perceive shining their light. And do you see the power and the light that emanates from that? And so I love that. We've got people already I got to do a new account, but we have people all over the world in different countries joining the movement. And I'm highlighting that on our social media with each new person that gives us permission to give them a shout out on social media. You don't have to give us permission to do that. But for those that do, I love it. We've got people in Costa Rica and Germany, in Egypt, and of course the US and Canada, South America. And it just continues to grow. And my goal is to have someone in every country, all across the planet, joining this movement and taking a stand for themselves, because in doing that, they take a stand for others. And that's what it's about. It's completely free. There's no cost. There's no pitch.
Right.
Well, the excuse about I don't have my website up and when I get my business cards in, I didn't write that to you yesterday. I wrote that a week ago, I think, but it wasn't you.
It wasn't you.
It sounded a lot like me. It's like, wait a second. Did I say that? But it's even broader than that, even because so how many times have you heard people say, including me, when I retire, when I get enough money, I'll start to paint and do the things or whatever it is I want to do. But first I have to get to that place. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like people used to ask me back when video cameras were new and I was in the industry as a filmmaker. They said, well, the technology keeps changing all the time. And so I've been waiting. When is the right time to buy a really good video camera? And I said, you'll never buy one because they're changed. You're always, and that relates to,
yes.
When the kids are grown, when I get, out of my career, retire or whatever, get enough money. It's even bigger than that. It's kind of like, which really hit home when you said that, Kim. It's like, no, today, present, now, let your light shine. What is it?
You are enough right now in this moment. Mm-hmm. There doesn't need to be anything else. You don't have to lose weight. You don't have to get a new job. You don't have to get the website. You don't have to have a new relationship or end a relationship. It's literally right now in this moment, you are enough. And so even if the movement simply does that for people, of getting them to the place where they recognize that in themselves, then to me, this is a success. My dream, my vision is to literally see an entire planet of walking, talking, breathing, being bright light people. And one of my ways to achieve that is through this movement. And so here we are. And I invite everybody watching today to join us. You are enough.
Beautiful. Well, we're closing down here, Tamara. How you want to wrap this up?
We are, and I want to thank you, Skip for taking lead, and Caroline for sharing so authentically about the experience that you had with Kim and how it helped you to let your light shine so that you will now be inspiring many, many others through the books that you've written and are being published right now, and so much more. And Kim, thank you so much for coming once again and being so much a part of the community here with ncb4l.org and the Tour of Love, plus then really following the call, your heart's call, your soul's call to make this difference with your Let Your Life Shine, the movement, and help people throughout the world to understand that they have that light in them and let it spark, and so it can ignite and that it can shine, and then in doing so others will too.
Thank you, Tamara. I appreciate the opportunity to share through your show, so thank you very much.
All right, everyone, we are about done with this week's installment of the Tour of Love Sunday show. I'm going to let one more time go around, one nugget, 30 seconds, go. Poe.
Well, that what you can do present, and as you see the joke about the skip Poe. Poe is that kind of character, and as we're saying, well, when are you going to start that today? And Poe is kind of a fun character I created, like a steampunk Poe character that my granddaughter calls me, writing songs and doing various things to as a quote time traveler and a edutainment kind of thing with some fun content, which goes back to my theater days. So what led me from this discussion, and thank you, Kim, is what can I do? What can Poe do today in the present? And so that's when after this, that's where I'm going. I'm going to do something today.
Awesome. Caroline.
Let go of the materialistic things. Know that you're enough and find your inner self and let your light shine.
Love it. Kim.
I'm going to go also to the present and Tamara's point about the reshifting of worldviews, and let all that stuff go. Be present right now. Choose you. In choosing you, you collectively have an amazing ripple effect in inspiring others.
And I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with the circle of life. And that is that the circle of life, when I think of something, I think very simply. And I think of the Lion King right now and the fact of, what comes around goes around, and the circle of life. And I really want to say thank you to those generations before that had light and they knew what it meant. They just didn't maybe have the terminology. Maybe they didn't, quite get it like we do now, the awakening, yet they were examples to us all. And I want to pay homage. I want to recognize them and say thank you. And so that now this generation, our generation, can be that generation that is taking the circle of life, and we are shining the light on it so that the next generations that are to come, like Poe's granddaughter and those Lion Kings that will be up in the air for the next generations to say, okay, we are here showing up to make a difference today, that this generation is letting our light shine with the awareness and the awakening to then make it happen, and so that the next generation will be able to too. So I want to say thank you to everyone. Be with us again next Sunday, 9:00 in the morning on the West Coast, noon East Coast. Yes, for the Tour of Love. Fill your mug with your favorite beverage and join us next week for another great installment with the Tour of Love. Bye, everyone.